Hi, welcome to my channel, Willa Candy's channel. If you're new here, it's very nice to meet you. This channel is called Willa Candy. My real name is Patricia. And on this channel, I do eating, I do storytelling, mainly. I also read the word of the day. How's everyone doing on this beautiful Saturday? I know Father's Day is coming up. And happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there who have been a great father to their child. And just simply all the fathers out there. God bless them all and happy Father's Day. And on today's video, I'll be reading the word of the day, and I will also be sharing episode 16 of Tar Mama. Episode 16 called Shelvonya's Dream. And this episode is going to be trippy, it's going to be weird, but I'm going to get into the word of the day. I'll be reading in Daniel chapter 2. And in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, wherewith his dream was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. Then the king commanded to call the magicians, and the astrologers, and the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans, for to shew the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will shew the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. If ye will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, ye shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. But if ye shew the dream and the interpretation thereof, ye shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor, and therefore shew me the dream and the interpretation thereof. They answered again and said, let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will shew the interpretation of it. The king answered and said, I know of certainty that ye will gain the time, because ye see the thing is gone from you. But if ye will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you, for ye have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me till the time be changed. Therefore tell me the dream, and I shall know that ye can shew me the interpretation thereof. But the Chaldeans answered before the king and said, there is not a man upon the earth that can shew the king's matter. Therefore there is no king, lord, nor ruler that asks such things at any magician or astrologer or Chaldean. And it is a rare thing that the king requireth, and there is none other that can shew it before the king, except the gods, whose dwelling is not with flesh. For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch, the captain of the king's guards, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. He answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain of the captain of the king's guard, which was gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon. And said to Arioch, the king's captain, why is the decree so hasty from the king? Then Arioch made the king known to Daniel. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, and that he should shew the king the interpretation. Then Daniel went to his house and made the thing known to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, his companions, that they would desire mercies of the God of heaven concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in the night vision. Then Daniel blessed the God of heaven. Daniel answered and said, blessed be the name of the Lord, blessed be the name of God forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O you God of my fathers, who hast given me wisdom and might, and hast made known unto me now what we desired of thee. For that you hast now made known unto us the king's matter. Therefore Daniel went in unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, Destroy not the wise men of Babylon. Bring me in before the king, and I will shew unto the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the captives of Judea that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, Art you able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, The secret which the king hath demanded, Lord forgive me, cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers shew unto the king. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets, and make it known to the king Nebuchadnezzar, which shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, and what should come to pass hereafter. And he that revealeth secrets make it known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that you mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. That you, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. That you sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. That you, O king, art the king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a king power and strength and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. That you art this head of gold. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas that you sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as that you saw as the iron mixed with mirry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas that you saw as iron mixed with mirry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. For as much as that you saw that the stone was cut out of the mountain without hands, and that it break in pieces the iron, the brass, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God hath made known to the king. Lord forgive me. What shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. Lord forgive me. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odors unto him. The king answered unto Daniel, said, Of a truth it is, that your God is a God of gods, and a Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets. Seeing that you could has revealed this secret, then the king made Daniel a great man, and gave him many gifts, and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon, and chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon. Then Daniel requested of the king, and he said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, over the affairs of the province of Babylon, but Daniel sat in the gate of the king. I'll be getting into episode 16. It's called Shelvonya's Dream. And, it's about Shelvonya. She kind of, has, this flu. Like, she's sick with the flu. And she's, having a fever. And, she's staying home. While everybody else is basically, distancing herself from, them. But, she wanted it like that. She wanted peace to herself, sitting up in the bed in her bedroom. She wanted to have, stay to herself and, watch the TV. And, Alexis, her husband, was asking her, baby, you sure you don't want me to stay with you by your side, feed you chicken soup or any of that? Feed you tomato soup? And then she was like, no, you could go out with your friends. You go out with your friends. I'll be all right. I can sit in this bed and be all right. I just want to watch my stories and have some peace and quiet in here in this dark room. Because it was nighttime. Alexis was like, are you sure? And then she was like, yes, I'm sure. You could go out and hang out with Ricochet and them. And, he gave her a kiss and told her gave her a kiss on the cheek and told her that he hoped that she feels better. He didn't care how sick she was. He's still going to give her a kiss and a hug because Alexis just did not care. He did not care about flus and colds and wasn't scared of that. But, her mama... her mama, Velveteen, was busy, and the sisters was too, but they still was checking up on Shelvonya because that was their sister, and that was Velveteen's daughter still, and she was checking up well, baby, I'm gonna bring by some soup, later on, but, I'm busy doing, so-and-so now, and she's like, okay, mama, take your time, I'll be laying here in the bed. Shelvonya was just not feeling good on this day, and, while she was watching, she ended up switching the channel because the stories came off and it switched it to another show that she didn't want to watch. She ended up turning to The Wizard of Oz. Everybody knows the old Wizard of Oz with Judy Garland and stuff, and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow and the Cowardly Lion. All of them characters like that. And the Wicked Witch of the West and the Good Witch and all that stuff like that. Well, Shelvonya ended up falling asleep at the beginning of the movie because it kind of got boring to her. She don't really like to watch them type of movies like that. But, she ended up falling asleep at the beginning of the movie and fell into this weird dream. Very similar, almost similar, but it had a little Cinderella stuff mixed up in it too. And I'll tell you why. But it was very similar to the Wizard of Oz dream. Instead of Dorothy being in his dream, it was Shelvonya. It was Shelvonya, as Dorothy, but it's she wasn't dressed up exactly as Dorothy. In the old Wizard of Oz movie, I think Dorothy had on a white and blue plaid dress or something, and she had on a different dress. She was talking to her grandmother. It was her El Salvadorian grandmother, Miss Nora. And Miss Nora was playing, I guess, as the role of, Dorothy's grandmother. The grandma that she was living with. I kind of forgot about the characters of The Wizard of Oz because it's been so long. We did a play in school. And you would never, we did a play in school. You would never guess what I played in the play. I played as the poppy plants, that made Dorothy fell asleep. I don't know, was that in the whole Wizard of Oz? I know that was in the Wiz movie, but we had to sway back and forth. Them flowers that made them sleepy when they walked it past them. I was one of the flowers. And this girl that I went to school with was Dorothy, and this dude was the lion and the scarecrow and stuff like that. It was fun. But back to the story, Shelvonya was Dorothy. But her name was not Dorothy in the dream. Her name was still Shelvonya. And her grandma Nora was playing as the grandma, Dorothy's grandmother. And then I think it was the uncle. And the person who was playing the uncle, it was somebody else, some other random man that Nora knows. Some other random man that she knows way in Hawaii somewhere. And it was just about similar to the Wizard of Oz. And Shelvonya had this fluffy little doll similar to Toto. If you don't know who Toto is, it was Dorothy's doll. And Shelvonya was in the dream, and she looked down at the doll, barking at her feet and licking at her feet. She's like, when did I get a doll? It's cute though. And she picked it up and rubbed it and whatever. And and the doll ended up running off. It was kind of like a little different from like what had happened at the beginning of the Wizard of Oz. Shelvonya's doll, her doll's name was not Toto either. It was Tutu. It was not Toto. It was Tutu. Like, come here, Tutu. Tutu ended up running off, like a little horn, like Tutu. That's what she named him after. But Tutu ended up running off. His little tail ended up running off and biting the ankle of some other lady. It was this older woman who had a long nose and stuff. Older white woman who had a long nose and stuff, a big mole right there. But she was dressed in like regular clothes, like 1930s. 1940s type of fashion, because the original Wizard of Oz came out in 1939, very similar to the 1940s era. But Tutu ended up running off and biting this woman that was about to get on her bike and go cycling. She was about to go cycling, and she had like this basket attached to her bike with like apples and fruits and stuff on it, I guess, to go somewhere and have a picnic. And she also had a book inside this basket, so she was about to go somewhere and have a picnic and read a book. That's until Tutu came out, like, bit on her ankle. She was like, ah! Like, he bit her on her ankle, like, oh, you stupid dog. And like, she ended up picking up the dog like this, throwing him in her basket. And she knew where Tutu came from because she seen Shelvonya with this dog before, playing it with it in the yard. And she was like, I am here I am here. Like, is this the dog that she asked Shelvonya and them, like, does this dog belong to either one of you? Like, she seen Shelvonya playing with it, but she don't know who's the original owner of the dog. Shelvonya like, yeah, that's my Tutu, and what you doing with him? He's like, well, I was going to take this dog away. It was like this place, about similar to the dog pound, but this was Shelvonya's weird dream. It was about similar to the dog pound, where this lady was about to take Shelvonya's dog Tutu, and to this place to get terminated, get unalive, get put down. And then Shelvonya, slapped the woman across the face like, give me my dog, you ain't about to take my dog. And the lady like, I can't believe you. And then she'll like tell this defiant child over here that she has to turn the dog over to me. The dog bit me on my ankle. He is a vicious dog, very dangerous dog. This tiny little dog, by the way. He's a dangerous dog. He could bite somebody else. And Miss Norris said, now Shelvonya, honey, you're going to have to give up the dog. And Shelvonya said, but I want it. This is my Tutu dog. Like, she kind of like started coming into tears, get sounding tearful. She's like, I don't want to give my Tutu away. This is my dog. I love my dog. That's what Shelvonya was saying. And, but Nori ended up making her give up the dog. And then when she had to give up the dog to the lady, and she was like, well, I hope you crash on your bike, you old witch. And she ended up running in the house, and the lady, while holding the dog, like, you need to talk to your granddaughter because she is out of line. And Miss Norris said, I'll talk to her. But Shelvonya ended up running to the back of the house and sitting on the back porch, just crying. I can't believe she took my dog. I'm gonna miss my Tutu. And she had started, like saying, what, I'm gonna sing a little song. I'm going to sing a little song for the memory of my dog. And she didn't exactly sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It sounded like Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but she was singing something for Tutu. Tutu. Tutu, tutu, tutu. Tutu, tutu. Do 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 do. She was singing it for her dog, and it was kind of funny. You're like, like clearing up her throat because she couldn't really sing. She was looking beautiful in the dream though, and she had the 2 pigtails. But then, a storm had ended up coming up from out of nowhere, just like in the Wizard of Oz. A storm ended up coming up, and like her uncle, the man that was alongside Miss Nora, he had to like get the animals inside the barn and stuff. And Shelvonya also was confused because everywhere it did not look nothing like like Michigan, where they from, Germiston, Michigan. It looked like they was in Kansas City, just like in the Wizard of Oz, the South. And it was a twister outside. You know, everything was blowing crazy, debris. Somebody's tub was flying up in the air. Somebody's house. Somebody was still sitting in their car. Like, hey, I'm driving. You know, like, a lot of crazy stuff would happen. And Shelvonya got scared. Like, oh my God, I gotta get in the house. She was speaking in a way that she don't usually speak. Once she got in her house, she ran in her room, tried to close the door, and she was trying to curl up in her bed, but allowed the twister. In real life, a twister sounds like a train, so the train sound was getting louder and louder. She was like, "Oh my God!" And when she had laid on the bed, she was like curled up like, you know, like a baby, and had her ears over, her hands over her ears for a while, but that didn't work. So she ended up peeping out the window and said, "Where's this twister coming from?" When she was trying to peep out the window, something from the debris that was flying around in the side of the twister had hit her in the face and knocked her out cold. And she lay back on the floor, and she was out. She was out cold. So like Shelvonya, you know, she was knocked out cold, and it was like she ended up in another spot, in another year, in another era, in another dimension, I guess. And she woke up, and she like had like on this glittery red dress. You know, like how Dorothy had the red shoes. She had on this red dress. Like, wow, where did this dress come from? The dress came from this other lady who was trying to kill her. The lady that looked very similar to the lady that was on the bike. That lady turns out to be the witch, the bad witch. And she was underneath this big old house, just like in the Wizard of Oz. And that dress once belonged to that lady. But that lady had got so ugly, physically ugly, that she could not, you know, wear that dress. And that dress belonged to someone beautiful like Dorothy. Dorothy put it on the dress. Well, not Dorothy. Shelvonya put it on the dress, and, you know, it was like, wow. So instead of the slippers she had on the dress, like, wow, this dress look nice on me. I like a little sexy mom. Like, she was looking at herself, and like this mirror that appeared, she was like, I wish I could see myself. And out of nowhere, this mirror appeared, and she was like, wow, I look beautiful in this, you know, dress. And she had on like these open-toe high-heel shoes, like to go right along with it. She was looking beautiful, and Shelvonya's hair was also designed in the way she like had like a bun like ponytail, and, you know, extravagant long hair just coming down like that. She was looking beautiful. Makeup, everything, nails, of course. Always has her nails done. I always wear acrylics. But she was just looking beautiful. And then she looked it down, and she saw this yellow brick road. And you know, she was like, so I got to follow the yellow brick road. And when she said that, a voice had whispered to her, said, follow the yellow brick road. And then was another voice said, follow the yellow brick road. And then another voice said, yes, follow the yellow brick road. And then the tune started playing out of nowhere. And then it said, follow the yellow brick road. Ha ha. You know, it's like, you know, the Wizard of Oz. I forgot how it went, but it was something like that. And, you know, that's when Shelvonya was about to skip. Like, oh, I can skip. No, I'm too big for this. I ain't about to skip. I'm going to just walk. She just walked it down the yellow brick road instead of skipping. You know, like how Dorothy skipped. You're like, no, I'm going to just walk. You know, I'm too tired for this. You know, I'm already tired. I don't even know where the heck I'm at. She ended up coming upon this cornfield out of nowhere. She ended up coming upon this cornfield, and she seen how this scarecrow, it wasn't exactly, you know, it was her version of the Wizard of Oz, because she dreamed about it. And it was this scarecrow. And the scarecrow was like up like this. And you would never guess who the scarecrow is. Wetsuit is the scarecrow. You know, Wetsuit, Gavin, you know, one of Alexis' friends, he was hanging up like this. And these crows, these big old crows, it was people that were dressed up as crows. And they were just tormenting him. They was eating like pieces of corn and just throwing it up at him and stuff while he was pinned up on like this wood thing. And they were like, you crows don't scare me. You buzzers need to buzz away. You know, he was saying that. And Dorothy was coming up. I forgot how the Wizard of Oz had went. I only remember some of it. I haven't watched it in years. But the crows were just throwing pieces of corn at him, throwing pieces of food at him and stuff. And the Scarecrow was talking some junk back, like, hey, you don't scare me. Y'all need to go away and buzz off somewhere with your nasty little selves, nasty little nasty birds. And that's when Shelvonya had came up and started kicking at the birds, like, shoot, you nasty, filthy vultures. She ended up kicking at them. When she ended up kicking away, they ended up leaving. The vultures, but it was really people. In her dream. And once she did that, and Gate Wetsuit, aka the Scarecrow, ended up saying, "Thank you so much. Like, you helped me." But I guess like his hands or something loosed it from the nails when he was nailed up to the thing. He ended up falling down and fell on the ground. And that's when Shelvonya like, "Oh, you okay?" And she held him up. She held him up like, "Oh, is you okay?" And Shelvonya had held him up, and like, "Yeah, I'm all right now." Ooh, he was like a little wobbly because he was made of hay, of course, made of hay. He wasn't really made of hay, but he was made of hay, wobbly and stuff and clumsy, like. And Shelvonya like, well, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to find my way back home. I don't know how nor where I got here. You think I can find my way back home? He said, "Well, no, I don't. I really don't." That's what Wetsuit, aka Scarecrow, was telling. And she was like, "Oh man." And then he said, "Well, I can't help. I can't walk with you further down the yellow brick road." And then that's when once he had said that, a voice said, "Follow the yellow brick road." And then another voice said, "Follow the yellow brick road." And it went on, "Follow the yellow brick road." And then once Shelvonya had started to walk down the road, Wetsuit's character, Scarecrow, started wobbling and falling. She had to keep helping him up, but they made it down the yellow brick road. And they end up meeting this Tin Man. They end up seeing the Tin Man. And you would never guess who the Tin Man was. Yeti, one of Alexa's friends named Yeti was the Tin Man. And you could visibly see his face. His face was silver. He was silver all over, just rusty tin. And like Scarecrow, like, "Well, there ain't nothing around here, look like a junkyard." They end up coming upon a junkyard. But as they were walking further in the junkyard, they kept hearing a sound, like rusty metal or rusty something, or like a rusty spring inside of a mattress or something. They end up hearing a sound. They did not know that it was coming from the Tin Man that they had passed by. So the sound started getting closer, and then they turned it around, and Shelvonya said, "I think it's coming from that thing over there." And they were like, "It can't be. This is just some hard tin. Hold on." Like, that's what Scarecrow had did. And then they ended up looking closer at the thing, and then when they looked closer, the thing made like, and then when they did it, like, "Oh," Shelvonya said, "It is coming from it. What the heck is this?" And once she said it, that's when Tin Man, aka Yeti, had said, "Help me." And Shelvonya and the Scarecrow, aka Wetsuit, they had looked at each other like, "He said help me. What we supposed to do? How we supposed to get on the top?" And then something said, stare down, Shelvonya." Shelvonya stared down, and poof, found like a container of oil, and they just started bloop 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 bloop, putting oil all up in him, juicing him up with oil, where he was able to move like, "Oh, thank you so much." Like, once they drilled the oil around his mouth, like, bloop, 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 he was able to speak. He was like, "Oh, thank you so much. I am able to move." He was happy. And Scarecrow introduced himself. He's like, "I'm Scarecrow, and this is my new friend that I had met named Shelvonya." And Shelvonya like, "Right, get it right, cause my name is not Dorothy." I don't know who the heck Dorothy is. And he was like, "Well, it's nice to meet you. I'm Tin Man." And then he got stuck. And then Shelvonya had to shoot oil on him again, like, "Yeah, my name is Tin Man." He's like, "Nice to meet you." And then she was like, "Hey, no, Scarecrow had said, "Well, Shelvonya over here, she's trying to find a way back home, but I don't know how to help her find, a way back home." And like, you think that you were able to show her a way back home so we all can see where she can, make it to? And Tin Man said, "I'm sorry, I don't really know where you trying to head to." She said, "Germiston, Michigan." He was like, "Germiston, Michigan? I think I heard of Grimacing. I think I did. I thought that place didn't exist. But if you're trying to go, you go that way. Then he got stuck and they had to put more oil on him. Like, you go that way, like I said. And that's when the Tin Man came right along with the Scarecrow and Shelvonya. So it was 3 of them now. Walking down the Yellow Brick Road. You know, it was all 3 of them now. And they walked and walked and walked and walked till they ended up coming upon this wooded area. And as they're walking further, they kept hearing the growling sound like Urgh. And then Wetsuit, aka Scarecrow, like, I'm scared, Shelvonya. And Shelvonya like, what is that growling noise? I hope nobody ain't got their dog loose out here. Because I know they don't sound like my Tutu. And then Tin Man said, who the heck is Tutu? And then she was like, well, my dog, well, it's a long story, but I know they don't sound like my dog. And as they walked further, the growling noise was just getting close, like, and the whole time they did not know that this lion was nearby. You would never guess who the lion is. Memphis, one of Alexa's friends again, was the lion. And he came out like, Roar! Well, he beat it on his chest like a freaking gorilla, even though it was a lion. Roar! I'll fight you with one hand behind my back. I'll fight you with one foot in the air. Put him up. You know, he was, doing all of that. And Shelvonya was just kind of like, a little bit startled. Scarecrow and the Tin Man, they was scared. They were like, ooh, please don't hurt us. And the lion was like, put him up. Well, once he got slapped in the face, that was Shelvonya like, you stop that. You quit trying to scare them. Okay, because you ain't that scary. Okay, you is horrible. You is a coward for treating them like that. Pucking them when you see that they is obviously smaller than you and is intimidated by you. And once she did that, Memphis, aka the lion, he was like, he like cried, like bawling and cried. And Shelvonya like, there, she got like this handkerchief out of her, dress, like out of pocket on her dress. She was like, here, wipe your eyes, do not cry. Well, not out of her dress pocket, out of her dress. She was like, here, wipe your eyes, do not cry. Like, she wiped his eyes for him, and he was like, and then he ended up taking it from her, like, I am a coward. And then, she was like, don't even worry about what I said. I'm just worried about getting home to where I needed to get to. Do you know a way where I can get to Grimacing? Like I said, it's not exactly like the Wizard of Oz. And the lion like, well, no. I can't help you find a way to get to Grimacing. But we can all come together and try to find a way to get to Grimacing, wherever that is. And that's when Shelvonya like, okay, cool, you can walk with us down the Yellow Brick Road. And then something whispered again, follow the Yellow Brick Road. And then something said, follow the Yellow Brick Road. And they all went down while the song went in the background, follow the Yellow Brick Road, follow the Yellow Brick Road. And then they end up walking so far until they end up heading in like this other part area, like a wooded forest area, about similar to where she met the lion at. And Dorothy, Shelvonya, instead of seeing like apples on this like tree, she seen peaches. Yeah, but they kept on walking. Till they ended up making it into like this area where they seen like these peaches on the tree. I think peaches grow on the tree. And Shelvonya like, ooh, those peaches look good. I'm about to grab me one. And she was reaching out to grab one. That's when one of the branches like one of the branches on the tree was like, he's like, I know this tree did not just slap me. And when the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and them and the lion were trying to reach out and grab, a peach off of the tree, they also got their hands slapped. And you would never guess who the person, who was the tree. It was Arlie, Shelvonya and Alexis's neighbor. It was Arlie. And Arlie still had on his glasses, but he looked like a tree in her dream. And then he'll like, nobody touches these apples. His eyes will stretch wide with the thick glasses. Nobody touches these apples. And Shelvonya said, well, listen here, Four Eyes. I'm going to get me she said, listen here, Four Eyes. First of all, it's not apples, it's peaches. You might need to get your glasses fixed. And second of all, I'm going to grab one of these peaches. And when she would try to grab again, that's when the rest of the trees had Arlie's back. The rest of the trees, it was some of the folks who lived around Shelvonya and the Lexes in real life. They was like posed as trees in her dream, and they started throwing the rest of the peaches at Shelvonya and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow and all of them. And like, oh my God, they're throwing peaches at us! And they had to take off and leave away from that area. And then they had to head over to another area. And Shelvonya like, look, I've been walking for far too long. I ain't even got nothing to drink. I ain't even had nothing to eat inside of me. And the lion said, I am hungry too. I wonder what I could eat. And he was like looking over at the Scarecrow while, doing his teeth like that. And the Scarecrow said, I ain't edible. Don't look over here. And the Tin Man said, if you eat me, you might hurt yourself. So they kept on walking till they ended up in like this field of pretty flowers. And these flowers was just like poppies. If you don't know what poppy flowers is, the poppy flowers, I think in the Wizard of Oz, it had made like Dorothy and them like real sleepy. Like it had made them like real sleepy once they had entered into these field of flowers. I remember seeing it on this movie called The Wiz. And The Wiz, Michael Jackson played in it, right along with Diana Ross and all of them. Some folks didn't like The Wiz. I watched it before, and the only terrifying part inside that movie, The Wiz, 1978, I believe, was the part where them tiny red things that looked like trash cans or something, they started growing and growing arms and stuff like doop, 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 doop. And they started chasing Dorothy and all of them. But in this part, with the poppy flowers, Shelvonya and got sleepy. As they walked it further, she said, I'm not only getting hungry and thirsty, I am getting tired. Well, I gotta sit down, get me some rest, kick my feet back and relax. She took her heels off and laid back in a field of flowers and fell asleep. And the lion also fell asleep. He was like leaning over backwards, leaning over Flora and falling over Flora and fell into sleep right along with Shelvonya. And it was the Tin Man and the Scarecrow. Like, oh my God, what is we supposed to do? That's what the Scarecrow had said. And the Tin Man said, I don't know, but they need to wake up. Like, hey, Dort, what's her name again? And Scarecrow said, I think it's Shaniqua. No. It's Shelvonya. Yeah, Shelvonya. I'm like, Shelvonya, wake up. And they're like, wake up, lion, wake up. And both were knocked out. The lion was like, Shelvonya like, had her finger in her mouth. They was sleeping really good in this flowers that made them really tired. That's until like the Tin Man, the Scarecrow was like looking scared and was staring up at the sky, and out of nowhere when he was staring up at the sky, it started to snow. Like snowflakes started to come down from the sky on these field of flowers. And once this snow came down on these field of flowers, it made them be, like less active. And what I mean by that inactive is like they won't make people sleepy anymore because the snow hit them. And as the snow lays on top of them, it freezes them up where they won't like make people tired. So once they did that, that's when Dorothy and the lion were able to wake up. Not Dorothy and the lion. Shelvonya and the lion had, woke up. Why y'all looking at us like that? And the Scarecrow and the Tin Man said, y'all fell asleep and we tried to wake y'all up. And Shelvonya said, what time is it? I didn't even have a watch on me. The Scarecrow said, I don't even know what time it is. And the Tin Man said, well, the Tin Man, he didn't know that he had like a clock that was attached to his ankle at the bottom because he was made of all tin. Looked at the bottom and he'll like, it's going on 5 o'clock. That's what it shows on my ankle. And he said, all I have is this ticking thing around my own ankle. And because deep inside, um, deep inside, the Tin Man did not have a heart, and the Scarecrow did not have a brain. And I think with the Lion, he did not have any courage. He was a coward or something like that. So they all was going through issues just like Shelvonya. Shelvonya wanted him to make it home, and she didn't have her dog Tutu. So they all was trying to go somewhere, to get their problems solved. And they end up making it to this land. They end up making it to this land. Called the Caravanians. The Caravanians, or something like that. Very similar to the land, to like where they found the Wizard of Oz. They went to this land, and they end up arriving there, and it was a lot of these, just like the little people, like surrounding like the little people that represent the Lollipop Guild, just like in the Wizard of Oz. The ones that were saying, "We represent the Lollipop Guild, the Lollipop Guild." Them characters. It was just like in a dream. And Shelvonya was just looking at her like, hey, little children. And once she said it, like, we ain't no little children. We old enough to spank you, girl. And then that's when she like, oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Like, that's what Shelvonya had said. She was like, is there a way that I could get, answers, like, where I can, like, find how to get home? And the little people had said, we can show you if you just take our hand. So she, like, let one grab her one hand and the other one grab the other hand, and they guided her, like, through these big, enormous, tall doors. They entered this beautiful city that was colorful and beautiful, with singing little people all around and stuff. Just colorful, giant pieces. Kind of looked a little bit like the Candyland game board a little bit. But she had entered in that city, and had no clue who the heck the wizard was. Had no clue who the wizard was. But Shelvonya ended up getting a makeover all over again. She ended up getting a makeover. And, like, they redid her makeup and every day. It was like they was going through a spa. Every last one of them. The Tin Man went through a spa. The Scarecrow went through a spa. The Lion went through a spa. And Shelvonya went through a spa. I'm thinking about the Wizard of Oz. They all got a nice makeover. And they ended up meeting, the person that was just like the wizard. And but they don't call this person like the wizard, like in the Wizard of Oz. They call him the Grand Master. And the Grand Master, he had like this ginormous voice, about similar. Well, I ain't gonna say Barry White's voice is Barry White. The singer's voice is ginormous, but he got like a really deep voice, baritone voice, I guess. And he said, "Who came here to see the Grand Master?" And Scarecrow had stepped it up first. Scarecrow, aka Wetsuit. He was like, it was us. Me, Scarecrow. And then it's me, Shelvonya. Before he came and finished, he said, "Did I tell you to step up here and speak?" And when Scarecrow said, "No," he ended up running back, like, no, you didn't tell me. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, Grandmaster. And then he was like, "You, the girl in the red dress, step forward." And when he did that, that's when Shelvonya was like, yeah. And he was like, "Did you come here to see the Grand Master? Have you been looking for the Grand Master?" "I have been told that." And Shelvonya like, "Yeah, I simply just trying to find my way back home. Like, is you able to help me?" And the Grand Master said, "Your way back home, where exactly are you trying to go to?" And Shelvonya like, to Gurmison, "How am I supposed to get there? Like, I don't know how to get there." And the Grand Master simply had told her that the whole time her dress was, magical. The dress that she had on, a little twist that I'm doing, but the dress that she had on was magical. And then he said all she got to do is twirl around in her dress. Twirl around a lot while saying similar words like, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. But instead of saying there's no place like home, she's going to say, I want to go home, I want to go home, I want to go home, over and over again. So she ended up getting there. When she had got there, she didn't exactly got home. She ended up in a 1930s version of Harlem, New York. Yes, where the Cotton Club and all of that. She ended up making it in the 1930s version of Harlem. And she ended up like in this big city, very different from Germiston. Like it was this huge city and buildings and people just walking up and down the street. She could hear like the I don't know if you call it like the Harlem Renaissance type of music, jazz music playing in the background, like and stuff like that. Like all of that was like going on where she was at. She was like, where am I? I'm not in Garrison. She was looking all around. And she ended up going to like this saloon area, like this little like not too shabby club. She ended up making it in there. And you would never guess who the bartender at the bar was. It was her mother, Miss Velveteen. And it was like a place that she had owned. But her name in this dream was not Velveteen. It was something else. And then she was like, what can I get for you, girl? Like, cause I got other customers to serve. And Shelvonya like, well, I don't want anything to drink. I'm trying to find out where I'm at. She was like, well, you in Harlem. Where else place do you think that you at? Like, what's wrong with you? You done bumped your head or something on the rock? And Shelvonya like, no, I don't think I did. And there was this other guy that was sitting not too, like, had a seat. Like, it was a seat right after the empty seat. A seat before the empty seat that Shelvonya would buy. And she, like, looked at that guy for a while. She ended up recognizing on the side that it was Alexis. She thought it was Alexis. She came up and said, oh my God, Alexis, baby. Like, what is you doing in the dream? And then the man said, get off of me, broad. I ain't know Alexis. Like, who the heck is Alexis? What the heck is that? That's what the dude said. And then she was like, baby, don't you know me? And they were like, no, I don't know you. Who the heck is you? And she was like, I'm your wife. Like, we've been married for what? And then she realized she did not wear the ring. She did not have the wedding ring on in this dream. She was like, well, it was a ring right here. And it was proof that we got married when we were 17 years old. And then said, I would never be tied down to some woman. You must got me so confused with another man. She ain't that type of man. As well, Alexis. It was like she was talking to a whole different person. When she was talking to this guy who looked just like Alexis. And, you know, she was hurt by it. Because she was like, oh, my God. This looks like my husband, but he is not acting like my husband. What am I supposed to do? And there was this other woman who was also flirting with this guy who looked like Alexis. She was like, well, what's your name? Things, and my name is Arthur. This guy named Arthur, he was like a gigolo. I guess that's what you call him. A man that just sleeps around with different women. I don't know if you call him a gigolo. I'll just say like a lounge lizard. A lounge lizard, if you look it up on Google what it means. He would have any woman he wants to. It's like this random woman that just started smooching him right in front of Shelvonya. And Shelvonya was just like staring with this melancholic look sitting in her eyes. She was looking like, oh my God, my husband doesn't even know me in this dream. And he turned it around and said, well, I mean, I hope you find your husband and I hope you find, your home. But, as of now, I got to go. I got to go with this fine woman over here, Maybe we can, have some fun some other time. But to be honest, you're not my type. I mean, no offense, you just way too much cushion going on. Basically called her fat. And, Shelvonya was like, in real life, Alexis loved her. But in this dream, he was a whole different person who just did not at all wanted to, be with her. Hold on right quick. Alexis was shocked. I mean, not Alexis. Shelvonya was shocked. She was like, oh my God, I can't believe that my husband is talking to me like this, but it ain't really her husband. Her husband, it was looking like her husband, but this was a whole different character in this dream that she was having. But she was hoping that she'll make it at home. She was hoping that she'll wake up, in Germiston, Michigan, but she did not. That was not Alexis. He was like, I'll catch you later because I'm about to go with this beautiful woman right here. You're not my type, but, it's nice to meet you. So her feelings were hurt. She was just sitting there at the counter. And then she was like, and then was another girl who came up right beside her. Another girl, like a girl that, like sleeps around with a lot of guys. I guess you could call them a prostitute. She came up and like had a drink in her hand, was staring like a straw-like thing in there. She's like, don't worry about him, girl. Like, I already had been with him. You know, he's no good and everything. You too good for him. And Shelvonya looked it over at her, and she was like, and the reason why she looked it like that, because it was one of her sisters, Shamira. Like, Shamira, what is you doing in here? She was like, my name ain't no Shamira. My name is Gloriana. Hello. She was like, but it's nice to meet you, though. And she walked it away. She was like, oh, my God, I got to wake up. You know, like, she, you know, realized that she was just stuck in this dream, and she just wanted to get out of it. And then she ended up hearing like a bunch of commotion, a bunch of guys laughing and stuff. Like, yeah, man, what I tell you, man? Yeah, give me my money and stuff like that. She turned around and saw like these guys, most of them hunkered down, you know, gambling on the floor area with cars and stuff. You know, just gambling, and they were like gambling. It was like a cockfight or something like that, you know, like they like letting the well, not cockfight, you know, like a chicken fight, you know, cock-a-doodle-doo, you know, like a chicken fight, and the person that had betted on the game, it was no other person but Ricochet. Yes, it was Ricochet. He was in the crowd of guys, you know, hunkered down, you know, betting on his game. And Shelvonya like, Ricochet? And they were like, move back, girl. I'm trying to do so. Can you see that I'm busy right now? Like, can you back up? Like, who are you? And he said, I'm not one of those guys. You want to talk to somebody, you talk to the other men over there. And then she was like, I'm trying to find my way back home. He was like, shh. Like, tell her that. And it was like watching these chickens go at it. Cause I think way back in the days they watched it like chicken fights and stuff like that. And then I think Ricochet had ended up like winning money like on this fight that had like went on. He had winning money from that fight, winning money into his pockets, and then he ended up getting himself a drink at the bar. That's when Shelvonya tried to, you know, chit chat with him. She was like, I'm sorry for interrupting your game. I'm just trying to make it back home. He was like, well, first of all, my name is not Ricochet. He was like, my name is not Ricochet. My name is Ramon. But in real life, Ricochet's real name is Ramon. But he just goes by Ramon at all. He don't go by no nickname named Ricochet. But this was a whole different Ramon. You know, he was dressed up like he felt like from the 1930s version of Harlem, New York. And he was like drinking a drink with ice in it. And Shelvonya like, I need help with finding my way back home. I really don't know where to go to. And they were like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And then she was like, oh my God, I'm stuck here forever. That's what she was saying. And they were like, well, I can help you out if you got a little something in your pocketbook. Because he realized Shelvonya had a purse on her. Shelvonya like, I ain't got no money on me. I don't even got a dime. That's what she had said. And they were like, well, I'll see what I can do. But as of now, I can't help you right now. But I'll probably be able to help you later. I'll probably be able to, you know, see, like if somebody has some type of map or something. You said something about Germison, so I'll just go check it out and see what you're talking about. She's like, oh, thank you so much. He was like, don't start thanking me now because it's going to take me some time. And you know, Shelvonya was just sitting there, and then the woman ended up coming back. The woman that looked like her mother. She was like, do you want a drink, dear? And then Shelvonya like, yeah, I'll have a drink. You got anything like some milk, like some low-fat milk? And then she was like, girl, what in the world is wrong with you? You extraterrestrial or something? And then Shelvonya like, no, I just was, you know, asking for some milk. Like, no, we got booze, though. You know, like alcohol. Shelvonya said, well, I guess that I'll take me a glass of something. You know, I guess I could, you know, take a glass of something. You know, I am getting a little bit tensed up and stressed. And that's when the woman said, here, you can have this drink right here. Drink this, and you go up to one of them rooms and you know, get some shut-eye. That's what the woman had told Shelvonya. Like, you go up there, because this place also had, it was similar to a motel, like a bar/motel type of thing, but it was like, you know, like the 1930s version of it. And you know, some folks will go in there, bring a lady friend with them, or come in with extra friends and have a party and stuff in some of them rooms. It was like about like over 18 rooms in that place, and Shelvonya she ended up going upstairs. It wasn't a really high upstairs, but she ended up going like upstairs, like these wooden upstairs, like to go into one of them rooms to lay down and get some shut eye. But she ended up walking into the wrong room, and she seen like this person that looked like her husband, Alexis. He was holding on to one woman, and just smooching on this one woman, while another woman was like hugged up behind him, smooching on him. And she was like, and then he was like, shut the door. Like, he yelled at her like, what, girl, bro, girl, what the heck is wrong with you? Shut the door. And Shelvonya quickly shut the door, and she was like, oh my God, I gotta get out of here. And she ended up running to like this very back room. It was like a room that was like way near this long hallway. She ended up walking into there, but she did not know that the room belonged to Ramon. Ramon was about to go in that room. She walked in there, and she like sat on the floor, and she was just bothered like this. She's like, oh my God, like, where am I? What is going on? And then Ramon, he ended up coming back in the room with 3 other women. Yeah, about like 3 or 4 other women. Hold on for a minute. It was 4 other girls who Ramon was coming back in the room with Ramon and this other guy that was like Ramon's friend. But it wasn't nobody who Alexis knew or anything. It was just a random guy that Ramon had hung out with in the dream. They were like, girl, you can't be in here. We about to have some fun. Like, he had told Shelvonya that she got to get out. Shelvonya like, I don't have nowhere else to go. And all 4 of the women was Shelvonya's friends. It's just she saw all of them. She said, Antonia, Sigalo, Bloomingdale, and her other friend. She would just recognize all of them. She was like, oh my God, I can't. And then they were like, who is that over there? They did not recognize it was Shelvonya because it was a dream. They was acting like somebody else, totally different people. They're like, who the world is that? But you got some other extra girl up in here? Like, it's not about to go down like that. And Ramon said, no, we didn't know that anybody had came in there. The door was supposed to be locked. And he was like, hey, girl, you're going to have to get out of here. And Shelvonya like, I don't have nowhere to go. Like, and then that's when one of the girls, it was Antonia, she ended up speaking out. She like had her hair like like the 1930s hairdo of women, but she like had it down like in like finger waves, and it was blonde. She's like, you heard what my man said. He said you got to get out of here. And Shelvonya was like, I don't have nowhere to go. That's when Antonia had hit her. She had heard her say, did you hear what I just said? And then the rest of the girls had tried to, jump on Shelvonya. And Shelvonya was also, fighting back, hitting back at them. The rest of the girls like trying to jump on her. She was by herself. And Ramon had to pull the other women out. That's when Ramon was not going for it. Ramon and the other guy were not going for it. They were pulling the other women off. They're like, get out. You get out. We ain't going to have none of that. We ain't going to have no cat fight up in here. No kitten fight up here. Because they call it a cat fight between, women. And Shelvonya said, well, fine, I'll just go. And Ramon said, you ain't got to go. You can sit right. I'm telling them to go. And then the girl who looked like Antonia right along with the rest of them, like, us? Why we got to go? The women who looked like Shelvonya's friends said, because I said so, now go. Like, get out. And they were like, well, fine then. Don't you dare come in my face again about having a fun time with you, because we ain't going to have no fun time ever. Said, we'll see you later, Skid Row. Like, they was like looking at her. And the other girl said, that's right. And they all had left out the door, and Ramon had slammed the door closed. And then he had said, you all right? And Shelvonya was like this, and then she just started crying. And then she was like, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. And she like started having tears running down her eyes. I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. She just started to shut her eyes and do like this. I want to go home. We'll rock it back and forth. And as she rocked it back and forth and kept saying it over and over, and her eyes started to shut, when she opened them back up, it felt like she was saying it forever. But just like that, she woke up and she realized that she was still laying in the bed, and she was just having a weird fever dream. And she looked it all around, But she actually had tears coming out her eyes as she was waking up. And she was looking all around to see if she was still in Harlem, New York, or if she was like in the Wizard of Oz type of land, Candyland. She was like, oh my God. And she, she actually thinking in her heart that Alexis cheated on her with some women out there. So and then she also like thought about like she lost her friends, because in her dreams it was like her friends didn't recognize her and they jumped on her. So she was thinking about all of that, how all them emotions built inside of her. And she ended up she had all those emotions built inside of her. And all those emotions built inside of her. And she had ran out in like the hallway on the outside of her apartment. She had ran out and like had sat on the floor, and she like covered her eyes and just went to crying, just weeping bitterly. She wept bitterly. And Alexis had ended up coming up with Ricochet, a few of his friends. They ended up coming up and they ended up seeing Shelvonya sitting on the outside of the apartment. They're like, Shelvonya, you alright? And Ricochet was like, what's wrong with her? And Alexis came over and hunkered down in front of her, like, baby, is you alright? She's like, leave me alone, you cheater. Like, cheater, what the world did I do? She's like, don't even act like you don't know what I'm talking about. You stay out of my face. And she ran back in the house and she slammed the door in his face, like, what did I do? I was just checking to see if she was alright. And Ricochet like, yeah, you're gonna have to talk to her about that. That fever got her hallucinating or something. Got your girlfriend delirious. You might need to turn her into the loony bin or something. And Alexis like, I'm not turning my wife into the loony bin, man. Is you crazy? Sound like you need to be in the loony bin yourself. But after saying goodbye to his friends, because they were coming back for somewhere, Alexis, he had brought back some things like to make a suit for Shelvonya. He had brought back like a bag with like vegetables and stuff, and he was gonna make a vegetable soup for her. And he was out, looking for that with some of his friends and stuff. He was hanging out with his friends, but he was also looking out, to make a suit for her. Because he had ended up telling Shelvonya's mother on Velveteen, like, don't worry, I'm going to take care of my wife. I'm going to make her a suit. And, Mama Shepherd was, was like iffy about it. Like, I don't know. I think I should make the suit because I make a better suit than you. And Alexis said, that is true, but I want to make something for my wife. I want to feed my wife. And she was like, okay, well, you can go ahead and do what you got to do. So, Shelvonya was still in the room crying, just under the covers crying. And her feet was poking out of the covers. And Alexis could see her feet with her little polished toes. And he tried to touch her like, Shelvonya. He'll try to took her feet, and then she kicked at him. She kicked him in a spot that I can't tell you where she kicked him at. And all I can say is that, like, oh, why'd you kick me right there? What is wrong with you? And he was like, get out! Like, she yelled like that, like, well, all right, then. I don't know if the fluids make you feel this way. I know you're not feeling good. He'll like, just leave me alone right now, Alexis. Just leave me alone. He'll like, okay, now I'm going to just leave you in here, and I'm going to go in the kitchen and make your soup. So he ended up going in the kitchen, making up her soup, chopping up vegetables and stuff, like, just made her a nice soup. And Shelvonya was just laying in the bed, quietly staring at the wall. But she started to, starting to feel better, but she was still a little sick. And still was like running a fever. But once Alexis started feeding her that soup, at first she didn't want to eat none of his soup. Like, I ain't hungry. And Alexis like, I promise you it's going to help you feel better. Please eat some of the soup. And she ate some of the soup. Started eating the soup, the fever started melting off of her. Started melting away, and she started getting her right body temperature back. And like, it was just like a big warm hug. That's what the soup tasted like. Turns out Alexis can make just as good of a soup as her mama. Like when she first tasted it, like, this soup tastes great. He said, I told you. And then she was like, what's your secret ingredients? He said, I just whipped it up, different stuff in the kitchen, put it all in the pot. That's all I did. I can't exactly tell you what I did, but I just made it special just for you. And Shelvonya tasted like, it tasted so good. And she ended up grabbing the whole bowl from like, give me the bowl. And then Alexis was like, you alright, Shelvonya? And then she was like, no. Like, why would I be alright when I caught my husband in the room with more than one woman? And Alexa like, what is she talking about? What room? And then she'll like, what? And then something came back. A voice had spoke to her and said, like, it was just a dream, Shelvonya. It was just a dream. And Shelvonya believed it with the Lord letting her know that God, because she had a belief in God. And she'll like, it's just a silly little dream, and it kind of, scared me, because I thought that I wasn't home. I thought that I wasn't around you. I thought I wasn't around my friends and stuff like that. Leslie said, well, you here, and I'm here. And, I would never let anyone hurt you. I would never let anyone hurt you. I'm right by your side. Always know that. And Shelvonya smiled, and then that's when he leaned in and they gave each other a kiss. And that's basically the end of this episode. It's kind of long, like 1 hour and something with this video. It's kind of long, but this is the end of the episode called Shelvonya's Dream. And if you made it to the end, thank you for making it to the end. And I hope you like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for visiting. If you're new here, I'm so happy to meet you. I'm glad to meet, people, and I just hope you all just stay safe out there. Please drive safely. Please have a great day at work. If you stressed out at work, always know that hope is around the corner. It's not far away from where you at. And goodbye, and God bless you all. Goodbye.